Hi. Morning, everyone. It's like a nice day out there. Well, what do you think we're going to talk about today?
Good question.
Stop talking and thinking, and there's nothing you'll not be able to do. Words. The way is beyond language. For there's no yesterday, no tomorrow, and no today. That's what they tell you about the great way. And then again, another thing, the way that can be talked about is not the way. And another thing we say is, the word's not the real. So what are we going to talk about? We talk about nothing, no thing. That's all that's going to ever be talked about. The no thing is everything. And the everything is that same no thing. And you and I and everybody else in this manifestation are things which we put words on, labels. And you know yourself, if you go to a shop and buy a shirt and come out with the label, it's not going to be anything, is it? People talk about realisation, liberation, freedom from the known. All these labels are put on it. But nobody has ever been or ever will be separate and apart from what the essence of that so-called body-mind is. They use the term God or a higher power or omnipotence, omnipresence, omniscience. All words, all different labels. All Satchitananda, existence, consciousness, loving to be. All again. And what is that existence? Or what is that being? Can you negate it? We can't. We can put on many descriptions on it, but the description was never described. The word's not the thing. The map's not the territory. And each and every one knows right at this moment they are. I am. I am that. What's the that I'm talking about? That is the everything and the no thing. Nothing excluded. Nothing separate. Nothing apart from it. call ourselves human beings. Being what we think this humanness is. This body mind. It has this reasoning capacity. But we are the beingness. The human is just another concept we've got on it. Try and stop being. It's an ever-fresh beingness that's right here, right now. And see, and realise you can't negate that beingness. Call yourself a human being. If you believe in God, you'll call God a supreme being. Well, take a label supreme off. Take the label human off. And try and negate the beingness. Take the label, the word off, but I'm going to say you know that you still are. You are being that. Not only human, but being everything and no thing. And all the so-called things, we've got the label on that. That's the tree, that's the flower, that's you, that's me. And they tell you that's the great mantra, I am that, which innately everybody knows and realises. But we've taken on the idea that we are the person, the human being, a separate being. It appears to be so. But look into all this manifestation. It all appears to be so. Where does it go when you go to sleep at night? You can dream yourself up as a body in that dream of a night, personal dream. But that, when you wake from the dream in the morning, where's the body go? That dream body go? And if that's a dream body, and you wake up to this dream body, why don't you realise that this body is a dream also? It's a waking dream. And the only way we can say that because there's a seeming continuity from when you wake up from the sleep at night or whatever you dreamt at night, all that dream pattern disappears. But you wake up to this pattern that seems the same as it was before you went to sleep. Where the dream body at night disappears, it's gone for good. It might be vague memories of it. You know, just very vague. They don't last very long after you wake up. And the Sagara tells you that. He says, to realise you're dreaming a dream. You call the world. That's all it is. Maya, illusion, a dream. Stop looking for ways out. And there you see what's so ridiculous. What's looking for ways out? The dream character is trying to get out of the dream pattern that's shaping and forming and appearing in.
Yes.
Might realise might recognise or understand the futility of it all. And it might stop the trying. Or you might settle down it, leaving everything as it is. unaltered, unmodified, uncorrected. Let it play out. No preference, no partiality, no comparison. And no person taking delivery of it and trying to work it out with what we call the mind, which nobody can show me a thing called mind. All the mind is vibration, a movement of energy. Vibrates into different patterns, shapes and forms. Sounds, noise. What's the basic screen out there or in here or wherever you like to put it, which it all appears in? Isn't it silence? Could there be any sound if there wasn't a silence? Is there stillness? Could there be any movement without the stillness? Because how could you discriminate to tell or differentiate the two? So the seeming two, good, bad, night, day, seeming two, one couldn't be there without the other. So they couldn't be differentiated at all. So when they say that's only the one, non-dual, not two, again it's a simple pointer to the direct and immediate intelligence, what I call intelligence energy, just as it is right here, right now. And intelligence is just another label for knowing, cognising. And the knowing that you are is right there, right now. And energy is a vibration, a movement. And isn't that knowing? The ing in it, something that's moving, it's not static. What we call the static is the known, or what was known, or what will be known. But the knowing is just like the seeing. Anyone not seeing right now? Anyone not thinking right now? So the thinking, seeing, hearing, tasting, touching, smelling, all an activity, all a movement of energy, vibrates, and this world or manifestation, it comes into play. Hinduism, they call it Shiva Shakti. Shiva, the static aspect, the silence, the stillness. Shakti vibrates. The energy. And the world appears. So that's all it is, a vibration of that energy. And everything in it appears. And they call it the dance of Shiva. And it's not only in Hinduism do they depict it, in all the traditions. Though they put many different disguises on it with the different, they all come back to the same thing. It's all the one. And when they put the disguises on it, they create many sort of worlds, all sorts of things out there, many lives, everything. When they start, split it from the one, divide it from the one, the two, it becomes a seeming two. The two becomes many. And the many becomes multitudes and hordes, God knows what.
Yeah.
but it never left its singularity. And the Tibetan Buddhists will say, let it rest in its uncontrived singularity. Stop putting the thoughts, concepts, ideas on it. It's a singularity. The Lord thy God is one God, there is none other. And they talk about this God as omnipresence, omnipotence, omniscience, total presence, total power, total intelligence, pointed in myriads of ways, out there all the time. Why do we do what they tell us we do? We live in ignorance. They don't mean we're dull or stupid, but we're ignoring that one essence. Ignoring it and focusing on this contrived patterns, shapes and forms which are the myriads and the multitudes. They look interesting, they look good, and they can be pretty bad, pretty rough, pretty tough, because they vibrate. There's still that vibration of energy. And then those things have concepts and ideas such as fear, anger, depression, guilt, shame, remorse, jealousy, envy, many other things, traumatisms and all sorts of different things. It's a good life, isn't it? But rest in the natural state. They call it the natural state. Now, what's nature? Well, nature's right around you right now. You can't get away from nature. See the way it's functioning? Day, night, winter, summer, silence, sound, movement, stillness. Sunny days, winter, storms, everything. Just naturally happening. And this body, this persona, this mask of concepts we got, which is a conceptual image, has the capacity of breathing, heart beating, hair and fingernails growing, cells being replaced, food being digested, naturally, spontaneously and effortlessly, thinking. Doesn't it imply it's suffused with an innate intelligence, innate knowing? Suffusing it. It's suffusing that body, it's forming that body, it's patterning that body. The body of itself can't do anything at all. And the mind that's in the body is nothing but a vibration also. And that of itself can't do anything. So see why we are locked in this belief, purely and simply because we were never told about it at our birth, never questioned it at all, but somewhere along the line you've started to question. And we lived with it and as it, the separate entity, and the pain and the troubles have become so bad that instead of going on to the believed in concepts we took upon ourselves with religion and all the different things, I said, well, we've got to look a bit further than this. Maybe there's a bit more. And those that do recognise the true nature. And they're bit. You can see them down through the ages. There's much been written, much been said, much been realised and understood. And freedom can seemingly come about. Freedom from what? Freedom from the known is the title of a book. That's very good. What we know or think we know or understood. It's got us bound. And freedom, when that so-called freedom is there, there's peace there. There's joy there. There's a sense of well-being, being well. As Nonduality puts it, there's nothing wrong anymore. And if there's nothing wrong, the opposite can't be there either, so there's nothing right. Like Shakespeare tells us, nothing either good or bad. If there's nothing good, there can't be anything bad. So the pairs of opposites are not there. What's there then? It's back to that non-conceptual, ever fresh, what they term presence awareness. Not a past awareness or a future awareness, but right here, right now, which is anybody that's out there listening to this, and others, but the ones that listen to this, as well as the others, must be present and they must be aware. Isn't that so?
Yeah.
What the hell are we searching for? And who is it that's searching? If it's the one essence patterning, shaping and forming. See if you can separate yourself from where you came. Where did you come from? So you were born? What was born? The concept, I am. But where did you begin? Go back to your father and your mother. The sperm and the ovum. It was from the food they were eating and the air they were breathing. Now, there was life in those two, what do they call them, two little particles.
Yes, cells.
There was life in them. Because when they came together, the intelligence energy, the life in them, the vibrating essence, doubled it and formed a little embryo. What were you thinking about anything then? As a little baby, you didn't even know. You couldn't call yourself a human being because you didn't have any words, any labels. And you didn't know what was going on around you. But that innate intelligence knew what was necessary. And the functioning intelligence, any still patterning, shaping in that body, forming brains and skin cells and everything else, enabled words to be understood or learnt, the vibration, and the capacity of reasoning developed, which is more developed than what it is in other pattern shapes and forms. But it's still the same life essence. And so we've taken this seeming form of a body-mind with this capacity of learning. But the sad thing is, we believed it has some substance, an independent nature of itself. It can stand on its own. My body, my mind, this is me. Who's the me, my, who's taken delivery of it? Isn't it a conceptual image?
Yeah.
Well, you know, a conceptual image, an image can't last long. Many images are around. So it's not the body, it's not the mind, it is the life, which is suffusing that particular pattern as it's suffusing every other pattern. And you can only be that life, if that's what you are. And that's all there is when you look into it and break it all down. So as Nonduality will tell you that also, and he says it's only life. There's nobody who lives a lie. And Christ told you that I am the way, I am the truth, I am the life. I and the Father are one. This other thing we call Big Daddy, the God or whatever, is the same as the Father, same as what I am. It's all the one essence. He told that in many, all the different patterns. But we never, but it's not good enough. We try to find more. Keep looking in this thing called mind. And all the mind does is vibrate into more patterns, shapes and forms and thoughts. Getting tangled up here.
Yeah, no.
And words. And that's what happened. Instead of staying with the one, it's become the multitudes, the many, the myriads of things. But they're all only things, patterns, shapes and forms, appearing in that one essence, which is no thing. Can something come from no thing? No. It can't. So it's never changed. And yet it's appearing to change. So it's like the ocean, it's ever changing and never changing. When is the ocean not the ocean? You can't say it's not. But then it seemingly changes when you put waves on it, rivers, tsunamis, floods, all sorts of things in it. It's still only water, still only a gas. Like the body, the mind and everything else can be broken down into that same essence. What's the point? Well, the point is understood here until it was recognised here. There was a hell of a lot of psychological suffering. Hell of a lot of dramas, pain, arguments, fights, all sorts of strife going on because of the belief. When the capacity of reasoning started, with that capacity of reasoning came the sense of separation, of being an individual, divided, and it divided the one into the many. And all the words and labels come about. So all that needs to happen is to recognise your true nature. Recognise that absolute one great perfection that you are is always and ever so. And you are that. So I hope there's some questions there, and I hope there's some input into it again. It's generally a pretty good group here. A lot of understanding, a lot of recognition. But the neat thing is to get it out there. If you've got some inkling of it, some taste of it, get it out there. There are others will looking for a way out. And they might hear something that opens up the way. The great way that is not difficult. The way that is no way. Way you go.
Okay, so I got the cat have taken my chair again.
No questions?
There is a couple of comments and questions. You move your little ass, darling. Yes, so hi everyone. We had a couple of beautiful good morning messages with the messages of gratitude from Tas and Jane that we are here every Sunday and you do the talk and I'm helping that to happen.
Thank you.
And we also got a question. Oh, you got a compliment that you look younger without the beard. And we got the question from Primali, why does Shakti dance the way it does? We will never know. Is that right?
Yeah. That's right.
That is a good question, yeah. Why not?
It seems in different patterns, similar patterns, but then it changes around. You can take a dancer can take many different steps.
Yes.
Different ways of putting it. And as Krishnamurti put it, perfect dancer never makes the wrong move.
And we will never know. That's a really nice aspect because who is the knower? The knowing is going on. But the way we like to know as we is to put the context and a story around it. So we would like to say that, oh, I've got the cancer because I've been living in asbestos. No, that may be one of the infinite amount of reasons, but because I was angry, or whatever the story. That is how we think we know something, through the explanation, through the dualistic reasoning and logic. While the real knowing is going on without words, beyond words. That's what Tas was expressing, the heart to heart. His gratitude was, you are a champion, he was saying. So the heart sort of a way of a knowing, without putting words, without putting explanation. Shakti dances because, and da. No, but the knowing is there. Not what is known, but the pure knowing, essence of knowing.
If it didn't dance and it was the same all the time, it'd be very boring, wouldn't it? Very ordinary.
Yeah.
Like if you're in a drought and you have day after day dry, hot, and that's a blistering sun, things like that. After a while, you don't want it anymore, do you?
No.
And if this body stayed the same,
yeah, it's a knowing about also going on in consciousness. Pure knowing is awareness, but the knowing of or knowing about or witnessing things is the awareness coming into being consciousness, conscious of some things. And why it does, we will never know why it does the dance the way it does. Yeah, that's a beautiful question, because the moment we and it, the knowing is split into I or we and it, the dance. Now we have the duality. This is where the pure cognitive function, cognizing emptiness, the capacity of knowing, capacity for knowing, is translated by the mind as the I or we and it, the dance. It is split. The knowing is split into the knower and the knowing. So here is no answer. That is very correct what you say. In the mind, no answer to that question. I mean, you can have many stories, but they're not real answer. And Michelle is saying, it is freezing a lot for anyone else, or is it just for me?
is it what?
Is it freezing a lot for anyone else, or it is just me? I see if anyone answers to it.
Freezing.
Freezing, yes, it says freezing, like cold, or perhaps posing, maybe, whatever is meant. And Caroline says is good there for her. Maybe turn off and on the device. Aha. So the video. Yes, so Michelle, it must be your internet, because if it's not freezing for others as we transmit, it might be on your side. But thank you for the hint, because we do occasionally lose the stream. Although, hey Bob, can you shed light on the difference between gut feelings and the crap the mind tells us, and how to distinguish between the two?
Well, the so-called gut feeling is what they call intuition. What's intuition? Intuition is teaching, isn't it?
Yes.
So it's inner teaching. And it tells you that, and being around, to get that insight or intuition or resonance or whatever you call it. Intuitive.
Also, I would say that the instinct is also, the gut feeling is not really a word. It doesn't come in the sentences, because that's where the mind's telling us bullshit. It's more of an action thought.
That's right.
It's something like an instant movement.
It's spontaneous.
Yeah.
Sort of inner knowing or recognising. Try to describe it, you can't.
Yes.
Call it the still small voice in a lot of the scriptures.
Mm-hmm.
Thou shalt hear a voice behind you saying, this is the way, walk ye in it. Whether you turn to the left or turn to the right, in other words, whichever way you go, there's that guiding inner voice, and everybody's had a taste of that at one time. It's not some big daddy out there talking, but it's a somewhat innate knowing or recognising, or an innate sense of well-being. You can try to describe it in the words you can't. It's sort of, but you have it and you know it.
Do you have an example of when you had a gut feeling and like something took you somewhere? You can say, I remember you were saying about the getting sober, and then, like you find yourself back in AA after you busted. What brought you there? What make you sick? What make you find? You recognize that it doesn't really come from the narrative. It comes from the impulse, kind of deeper than
Well, just a sensing, sort of there's a bit of, it came in that way, and where I didn't believe in anything, but it could, so sort of innate knowing, well, maybe a little chink in the arm, instead of having a completely closed mind, came up, well, maybe there is such a thing as a higher power. Circumstances may have brought that up, that they had to look at it,
Yes.
It was such an amazing turnaround for the way I felt and acted and behaved, Well, maybe, and so it came up then. Find out what it is. Find out what caused this maybe to come up. And that made me look into where it was pointed to, in a power greater than yourself. Well, maybe there is such a thing, because of mine own self at the time, I couldn't have stopped.
Yeah.
I had tried to stop many times, and each time it'd take me in deeper and deeper, and it'd get worse and worse instead of any better. So then, the innate knowing, well, it was hopeless really, but something said, well, maybe there is. Find out what it is that might be seemingly the last chance,
So that maybe it was, I like when you say chink in the armor, it's like almost like an opening of the mind.
Yes.
So it didn't come from the mind. It was kind of something beyond that doubted the mind.
Well, a closed mind wasn't letting anything in.
Yes.
A little chink, a little opening maybe. It makes you look a little bit further. It's hard to explain.
I think, anyone who would look back at their life they would see that intuitive actions that came from, I don't know where they came from. Something even slip off from your mouth, and where did that come from? Sort of something that is beyond that controlling, egotistic, self-centered narrative.
And you've heard the term "don't go there." Well, that comes up about some thought or something you might meant to do.
Yeah.
But in life, too, you see that people will say, "Don't go there; it's dangerous." So you'll listen to that. But they're pointing out something to you, is using the vehicles of other patterns. But when you're coming through your own pattern, it comes up in your own pattern, the insights, the knowing, the recognising. And people who write books, write songs, and do all these physics and things like that, they get a lot of insights and that's most of that is coming from the inner knowing.
Ultimately, even the narrative is another expression of life. There is only one. There is only that one life, or the universe, or whatever you want to call it, expressing. So the still small voice and the loud, not a small voice, they all the same expression of the same one. But yes, there is a quality difference between the narrative and between the inner knowing that expresses as the instinct or gut feeling.
Yeah, they talk about it in the 23rd Psalm. The Lord is my shepherd. There's something guiding it. I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. And yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Now it's ever with you, that voice.
Yes.
Not Big Daddy or some angel or some... It's that life intelligence. And it's this... it's fashioning, forming and shaping this manifestation, this cosmos. It's in everything. Yeah. And the conscious contact can be made with it by opening up to it, letting it. Leave everything as it is. And if things need to change, they will change. You'll get that direction too.
Yes. And also trusting that whatever course life takes, is the intelligence of life is far superior to that little narrative, which is just a bundle of past experiences and approximation and projecting them on the future. So just trusting that whatever the life or the instinct or the intuition chooses is the best possible option is just the obvious thing to do. We have a comment from Tanya. So thoughts are vibrations of intelligence energy. Thought and intelligence energy are one, non-dual.
Yeah.
So it is only a belief, believed only by another thought, that thoughts need to stop for enlightenment to occur, right? Not me is here already, but the no me is here already, but the belief thoughts need to stop, especially the me thoughts need to drop, has kept the seeking going apparently. Seeking only appears as a seeking thought. Can you speak on this? Beautifully said. That's a beautiful note. Yeah, absolutely. And so true. Everything you say is spot on. Yes, it's only another thought that says that the thought needs to stop. And believing in it makes the drama, makes the seeking prolonged and the drama going. But that both of those thoughts happen in that space-like awareness which you already and ever are. Without that space, no noise would be ever known. So whatever the noise, the thought is communicating, is only a secondary importance. The first importance of the noise is, there is a silence, without which the noise wouldn't have happened, and I am that. Beautiful. And of course there may be more pleasure in a silence than if someone is building, constructing, and hammering some noisy thoughts or noisy other noises. But it is not about the pleasure, the freedom, the ultimate freedom is freedom regardless of the amount of pleasure or pain. Freedom is to recognize that you are there, you are that, regardless of circumstances, in pain and in pleasure, in sickness and death. But you said it beautifully. Yes, no thought, especially the me thoughts need to drop, has kept the seeking going, apparently. Now, the me thoughts can, but don't have to drop. In some people they do drop, in some others they just recognized. Like Bob's analogy about the blue sea. You recognize that it is not blue. You grab the glass of water, you see it's transparent, nothing blue about it. But you move back and it still looks blue. So the me thought may come, but you took a glass of water, it's transparent, nothing there.
So you know the truth about it, and you're free of the belief.
Yeah. Even if the me still comes, I mean, it may even come in a language. How else would you communicate? I'm going there, or it happened. Yeah. It's like, it's a good word to point out that this particular body-mind is going through some sort of a...
Yeah, but it's just a word, me. As we take me, we take it to be this body-mind entity, person. You know? This is me, the flesh and blood. Mm-hmm. But me, just a word, a label.
Yes.
Like all the other words are labelled. Drink the word water. Swim in it, drown in it.
Yeah.
Treat the word me the same way. See if you can do what you can do with it.
The thoughts containing me, they are the most sticky thoughts because they link to the survival of the body. But when they are seen through, they're laughable. They're just like any other thoughts, like thought the sky is blue. Well, sky is not blue, but it doesn't really hurt. But when I say I'm blue, it does hurt. Blue means depressed or something in this local slang. That hurts because it's personal. But if you saw and knew that this blue is transparent, there's nothing there. Sky is transparent, water is transparent, me is transparent. So what's blue? There may be a body-mind blue, or there may be the appearance of the sky or water, but really there is nothing there to be of anything. Condition of the body may still be such, but you are the freedom in which that body with that condition appears and disappears. And Nick is so happy to be up to see you, and Primali is saying thank you. And Tanya, whatever words are being spoken or whatever apparent behavior, actions are happening is just what is happening.
Exactly.
Nothing right or wrong with it. Exactly. It is only a thought appearing, telling a story that some appearance should or shouldn't happen. This is free to appear however it does. Life is always right. Because if you argue with life, you always lose. And Nick also says, it is so amazing that when we don't mind our own mind, everything works out great. That's intelligence energy. Beautifully said.
As they say, don't mind. Yeah. And if you don't mind, that means you're not using the mind. Nothing. Somebody doing something you mightn't like it, and you say, I don't mind. Well, you're not going to get upset about it, are you?
No.
If you don't mind.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter. You haven't let it congeal or settle in your mind as something solid. It doesn't matter. It's still only essence or spirit.
Yes. And now Tanya says, so as there is no separate I or me, What else is there to investigate? Or just investigate being, ask what's this, and not expect an answer?
Who needs to investigate if there's no I or me?
That's that point where investigation may drop.
Yeah.
Yes.
Who is there or what is there that needs to investigate if you see it? What are you relating to? What's your reference point?
Yeah.
If it's not I or me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's beautiful. I mean, investigation is no longer required. It's nothing to be known and it's no one to know it. And you relax into the mystery and let it unfold. Be the witness in consciousness, non-judgmental. And Tas says, intuition, inner teaching, brilliant. And Jane, we will intuitively know that presence is doing for us what we could not do for ourselves. Yeah, especially that there is no ourselves, there's nothing we could really do. It's all life. Man minus mind equals God, says Nick. That's nice.
Who?
Nick.
Nick.
Yes. Man minus mind equals God. Beautiful. And John, grace and 3 question marks. Question about grace. What about her?
She didn't come today.
No, it's a lockdown. Nobody can come. And Jane, from the point of sanity, we recognized the insanity.
Yes.
Beautiful. Yes, you could call it grace, Jane says. Amarnath, all sanity is insanity. Insanity is also sanity. Both are same stick, 2 ends.
Exactly.
Yes, it's only one. Wish you a very good morning, Sarabit says. And Jane says, yes, Primali. So when we are saying no reincarnation, then it is again duality, isn't it? We don't know. I know there is no me, but again, that is duality. Yeah, we don't say there is reincarnation, there isn't a reincarnation. We're simply not interested in any time other than this moment. And you can say in this moment, life incarnates in multitude of forms and shapes and patterns. That's what it does. But does it reincarnate? Or it's just a spontaneous appearance in this moment? Reincarnation is something solid that doesn't change coming through time. But time is mind.
Well, as a previous question, whatever it was asked, when he says it's the one-ended stick, that's all there is.
Yes.
So it's not divided into good, bad, thick, thin, or it's still all the one.
Yeah.
Non-dual. One without a second.
Yeah, that was Amarnath. Yes, so saying no reincarnation, then it is again duality, isn't it? We don't know. Yeah, but if there is no one to incarnate or reincarnate, then, you may just say it doesn't apply. That's it. But ultimately, we're not focusing on the mind and its stories, because, as you know, anything that happens in time, this life, previous life, next life, whatever, is the time, is a concept of continuity through the time, which is mind, which is illusion. It's a nice conceptual, it's a nice concept, time, because it creates such a possibility for such an abundance of wonderful stories. But that's the dream. That's what Maya is. Once upon a time, like Bob says, everything that's once upon a time is a fairy story, fairy tale. All the Shakti dancing is Maya. So there is no separate I or me, Amarnath replies to Tanya. Beautiful Tanya. If we don't think or project, no one is there. So how can we separate? We are prior to thought of separation. That's right. And John, unique thought. Amarnath says label equals mind minus God. That's cute. Pesto. So much wisdom, says Primali. And Joe, love you both so much. Thank you for your time and wisdom. Thank you for your presence, darling. And Timothy, human beings have a will which allows them to direct their attention to initiate or stop thoughts. Isn't the will, the choosing faculty, the real me? That's a beautiful question. If you know how to stop thoughts, let's say for a week, you will probably gather a fortune if you teach humanity. Stop them for an hour. See if you can really choose that. Because according to our experience, that's not possible. And even to choose another thought, the thought of choice has to occur. And nobody has ever discovered where do thoughts come from, how to manufacture, let alone control them. Because if they did, everyone would only have loving, happy, blissful, enlightened thoughts. And that's not the case. But if you would want to see that the apparent will, the illusion of control or directing attention is the me, that's pretty good. I think that's a pretty good way of explaining the phantom of the separate entity. You know, the illusion of being in charge, of driving the bus. There is something, imagine a little dwarf or little human here or there, something that thinks that it can control the direction of attention. While the fact is, attention is attracted and repelled, and then narrative comes and say, oh, I did it. Oh, I looked at this direction now. The body has already fueled itself, pumped the oxygen everywhere is needed to do that move. But the narrative comes and say, oh, I did it. About half a second later. That's what science has to say. But I do like the way you explain the idea of me. The will, the choosing faculty, that's the me. That's the illusory entity. That's we add to that faculty past experiences, events, gender, nationality, and all sorts of other concepts to actually keep it. You know, we say that me has the capacity to see, even though we know it's just the organ that has the capacity, not the conceptual image. We say that me has the capacity to think, even though we don't have any control on firing synapses in the brain. But yeah, it's not a bad idea to actually call the illusion of choosing faculty the me, because that's what it you have this beautiful way of saying that me thinks it has the capacity to see, hear, feel, touch, smell, and think. It hijacks that life quality to express and say, no, this is me, this is I. Amarnath, you wanted to add on this one? Amarnath replying to Grace, self equals grace equals guru, spontaneous intelligence energy. That's Amarnath's take on grace. Self equals grace equals guru. Yeah, like Jane was saying, you can call it that. I mean, whatever works, whatever word or label kind of has the vibrational match. Tanya, thank you, Bob and Kat. What a wonderful answer, pointers. The me thoughts are already recognized to not be true. How wonderful answers appear somehow. Yes, they appear, they come through you. That's amazing.
Maybe that's intuition working.
That is. Amarnath, there is no reference point or no one here to refer to. He's quoting you. That's right. It may appear to be, but have a look again. And Julia, I don't have many questions these days, but it is good to add to the conversation. Yes, please. Can we speak about difficulties in the outside world, and if, how they affect you? Again, I'm really just asking for entertainment. Yes, so how do they affect you? The lockdown, the anxious people calling, asking for guidance, how is that having any effect on you, that whole COVID situation?
Well, just the same as the things are happening in the world, any response or anything affected to it is the same thing happening.
Mm.
Not to anyone.
Mm-hmm. But
just like it all plays around.
How do they affect you? Do they affect you in a specific way? Like, do they take away joy of life a little bit, or do they worry you in some way, or do they do anything?
They come up and there'll be the response to them, whatever's necessary, that happens, you know.
Mm.
You know, the pairs of opposites will still be there. There'll be fear, anger, depression, all those things.
Mm-hmm.
But they can't get the same intensity and belief into them anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Just the same as the body still functioning in the opposites. The in-breath, the out-breath going on, heart's expanding and contracting. You know, if you get a block in the throat, that'll affect the breath, stop you from breathing, make you cough or something like that. Still responses are there.
Does it affect you in a way that, are you, let's say, upset that we can't go to Sofia and catch up with people or have meeting in here? Sometimes when you think about it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Good.
You wonder what...
I mean, not good, but...
No, but like everything else now,
yeah.
You wonder how's this going to unfold?
Yeah.
What's next?
Mm-hmm.
Where before you used to carry on about it.
Mm.
You know, well, this is how it is. What's next?
Mm.
What's the next way it's going to unfold?
Yeah.
Because, and where sometimes you get caught in a little bit of the upsetness, the old habit will come up, but not for very long anymore. You know, It's been seen through. Once you see the falseness of something, you can't believe it anymore. You're not going to go down to the ocean with the intent of getting a bucket of blue water out of the sea anymore.
Yeah.
Or think you'll fall off the edge of the earth.
Mm.
If you go out, you know, if you go out into space.
Yes.
Things still happen.
Mm. Yeah, amazing. I don't really feel much affected because I don't really think about it. I mean, of course, when...
Still, as body parts break down, there'll still be pain.
Yeah, that's more...
And the body thinks that's telling you that all's not well. Do something about it. You know?
Yeah, everyone is kind of affected by their environment, whatever is important in the environment. I don't really feel much affected by the COVID situation, but I do speak with my clients, and I do speak because I'm still working, and they are telling me about every family member having their own reaction, and I have really high sensitivity for the empathy, so I can actually feel their pain. I can feel my mirror neurons going, and it's heartbreaking. But it is gone the moment conversation ends, because I'm just not hanging on to the thinking. That's the way life plays out, and then there is always preference for the present happening, and present happening is not what is conceptualized and contextualized in thought, but rather what is happening in the senses, in seeing, hearing, tasting, touching, smelling. So I'm more affected when Bob gets up, and the knee is playing, and I can see the grimace of pain. That is more of the immediate affection, the way the world affects. Because to think about the situation out there, you do have to think. It's not immediate in the sensory experience.
Yeah. If you couldn't see it, I'd be dirty on it. Doesn't care.
Oh.
I could create
I
something.
can't help it. I can't help it. It hurts. It's the, yeah. So, thank you for the question, for the entertainment, Julia. And Tanya, great point. No one to investigate and nothing to find. Thanks so much for the reminder. Relax into the mystery. That's right. Yeah, nothing to find. The seeking, that's the freedom. When the seeking completely fades away, completely drops, there is no more questions because there is no questioner. So whatever is not known, it doesn't need to be known, and whatever is known is what is enough. And if something needs to be figured out, for example, the N-acetyl, whatever, thiamine or something, some supplement helping, it will be, the intuition will guide you this way. So there's no questions really. That's the freedom. No seeking, no investigating, no needing to find out. And the other Julia, there is no re of anything.
No what?
R-E, no R-E of anything. I would probably imagine there was some sort of a autocorrection cancelled the rest of the word. And Amarnath, we are ever grateful and thankful infinitely to Kat for sending daily one message of Bob on Facebook group. Thank you, Amarnath. I just felt a little bit guilty for shutting down all the messages that were not of Bob, and especially I appreciate your gratitude because they were yours and I kind of felt guilty. We did talk about it. So now I'm overcompensating with those beautiful pointers, and you are also welcome to bring, because you're highlighting good stuff here. Drop one of Bob's here and there. Thank you. And Jane, just life itself, know me. Precisely so. And Nick, and I will just say for those who don't know, because we kind of have what I was just saying, Amarnath was pointing at the Facebook group, Sailor Bob Pointers and Sharing, which is on Facebook, set up by a dear friend. And we have Sailor Bob's Pointers and Sharing there. So if anyone who is watching us and doesn't know about the group, you can just join in and you'll have a little reminders. I have quite a collection of beautiful photos of this gorgeous man smiling, and I enjoy doing it. So Nick is saying, it's incredible that it is the same message, Buddha, Christ, all reflections of our own original, indivisible face.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
That's true.
So
That's
true.
what people don't
Yes.
recognise.
Mm-hmm.
Simple.
Yes, beautiful. Beautiful highlight. And Chris, morning Kat and Bob, love you guys. Oh, we love you too, thank you. Human being, that's Amarnath replying to Timothy, and I didn't see that message of Timothy, so I'll just try and find it. Yes, Timothy, human beings have a will which allows them to direct their attention. Yes, I did actually see that message. So Amarnath says, will without willing person or personality. Nice one. Yeah, the willing, the choosing, the action, the happening. And Jane, investigate who is the choice maker. And Nick, there is no will. The fact that your mind isn't what you want it to be makes that abundantly clear. So brilliant. What a beautiful point. I love that. I'll read it again. There is no will. The fact that your mind isn't what you want it to be makes it abundantly clear. What a great example. Michael, appreciate so much this Sunday offering, Bob and Kat. You are both beautiful. Beautiful. Instead of saying, that's a nice kind of twist on, Michael says, on beautiful, beautiful. I love it. Thank you. And Timothy says thank you. And Amarnath replies to Julia, who asked about the entertainment question. Difficulties are our imagination. There is no outside, inside. Non-dual, impersonal is expressing as many personalities and world. It's difficulties. That's so true. Absolutely. Yeah, the inner environment, outer environment, they can't be separated. There is just one expression, one way the life flows. And Shakti dances. Now Michael says, what about feeling of love? Are they less personal or no change? Feeling of love, is it less personal or is it just the same?
It's only love.
Yeah.
Love is life, life is love. Love is God, God is love.
Yeah, you know, Michael, some people call possessiveness with the same word love. And I would say there is no change. Some people call preference for certain flavors, like pizza, they call it love. Yeah, and again, it's very personal, very selfish. But love in which you are totally at one with the universe, that's the love that Bob is saying. That's the totally, as you say, less personal. That feeling of love, impersonal feeling of love and joy. We had this discussion on one of the Zoom meetings, how it is that people who don't feel the sense of incompleteness and the sense of inner hurt with which they have to fix themselves and take from others to complete themselves. How come the people who are naturally happy and radiate that sense of love because they feel complete, because they are total, they almost, there is no selfishness in it. That's this type of love in which you don't want anything for yourself. And then someone appears in that space and you just feel for them, you're there for them. That sort of unselfish love is definitely less personal. But yeah, there are people who actually call that word in, stick the same label to many other aspects which are pretty selfish. Nick, honestly, I wish I could just give Bob a big hug. Just thinking about the opportunity to do that brings tears to my eyes. Oh, I hope the time will come and the opportunity will come. That will be wonderful. For now, I can give him a big hug from you. And Jane, just as there is sadness when a pattern is recognized here at times, there is a sadness at the collective division this pandemic is causing. Comparison arises. Yeah, and isn't that sadness an expression of loving care? Yeah, it is pretty creepy how divided people are because of the opinions they have on one thing or the other. Yeah, it is. And Julia, thank you both. I'm similar here now, thanks to you both. Not much is believed in now. COVID could be a catalyst for people awakening. Through the suffering, people may start to search for their true self. which is quite often the case. It certainly was in Bob's situation, it certainly was in mine, and quite a lot of people gets that initial break in the armor, as you said, facilitated by unbearable suffering. So yes, nothing either good or bad. And Ri is again, that's Julia was saying, Ri is again. Okay, where was that, Julia? She made a comment and we didn't know what was it. And I'll just try and find it. Yeah, there is no Ri of anything. There is no Ri of anything. Ri in the meaning of again. Like, for example, reincarnation.
Recover.
Recover, that's cover again, right? Reincarnates, that incarnate again. Replay, that's play again. Yeah, good point, Julia. You're so right and so nicely pointed, because yes, the appearance is fresh and new. It doesn't repeat itself in the fingerprints, in the pupil of your eyes, or blades of grass, or flakes of snow, or droplets of water. They're all fresh, no re in anything. No reincarnation, no replay, no reassemble, no, it is...
No resentment.
No resentment. Yes, and now we got... I'll have to start from compassion, not comparison. Oh, sorry, absolutely, yes. Jane was saying that compassion arises when she sees the division. Yes, totally, sorry. And Amarnath says, Lord equals self, equals want, equals mind, equals non-existence, appears as existence, only an appearance. Sheep, personalities, shepherd, impersonal, spontaneous intelligence. When you were singing Lord is a shepherd, that's a spontaneous intelligence, and sheep are personalities. Beautiful, beautiful elaboration on the quote you brought, Bob. And Padma, can you please expand on the Psalms, Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. And that's just what Amarnath answered to. Beautiful. Lord is self, want is mind. Non-existence appears as existence. Sheep, personalities, shepherd, impersonal, spontaneous intelligence, energy. Would you like Bob to add to it? For Padma, can you expand the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want?
What's there to expand on it?
Yes. How do you understand that?
Oh, understand it. As it says in the scriptures, it's the still small voice, it's the inner guide, it's the God, whatever label you like to put on it, yeah.
But what is it I shall not want?
Anything.
Uh-huh.
Shall not want food.
Not desire anything?
Yeah. Food. Everything will be is provided by that same essence.
Okay. Now, Nicole, thank you, love to you. You are both so kind. My heart is with you. And thank you, Nicole, and thank you for being here.
Who's that?
Nicole. And now we have Taz. Some members amongst the search party to find Taz are really starting to ask who they were looking for exactly. Let's just stop here. They are suggesting to rest our weary bones, to have a picnic, to listen to the birds, to play, and to watch the dance of light in the trees. Maybe this is all Taz. One is asking. Gorgeous. How beautiful. And Nicole says, I struggle with the question regarding will too. It seems I make the choice to exercise and make myself go exercise. So, life is the will? Yeah, the thing with no separation, if the body is not separated from the environment, that impulse to exercise may come from the sunny day, or it may come from the bonds that are perhaps not very comfortable, or it may, the thought, the inspiration cannot be disconnected from whatever is around. So I can't say that I have decided it because I was prompted. I only responded to some sort of a prompts from the environment from which I can't.
Yes, the breathing happens spontaneously and the heartbeat and all that. So if you think you're made to do something.
But it feels like it because, the urge is somewhere in the body, through the chemicals, through the oxygen, through the cortisol going, and then a narrative comes, I think I choose to exercise. But that narrative is already responding to the inner environment. So it isn't really, it's not even response. The narrative is just a translation of what is already happening on the deeper level, on the chemical level, biochemical.
It's just part of the happening.
It's part of the happening. So the narrative says, I choose to do that, or I decide to do that. That's the narrative. And we are trained to believe our narrative. Like when you have 2-year-old baby who doesn't have enough language, or let's say 6 months old baby, and the baby is lying down in a little cradle, and suddenly it turns to the other side. It haven't decided to do it. The body kind of felt a little sweaty or a little bit achy, and the body turned. But when you have 6-year-old, the 6-year-old will say, I have decided and I have turned. But no, the turning happens just like in 6 months old. The turning happens. But there is no narrative because there are no words. And in 6-year-old also turning happens. But the narrative comes and claims it. That's how we learn to take credit for whatever is happening. That's the great problem with the free will. Because you do have to be separate to have free will, and you can't. How can you separate yourself from the air you breathe, from the water, from food, from the space? But that's a good question to contemplate on, because once you see through that, you'll never feel guilty of anything anymore. That's a freedom from a lot of suffering, coming from taking negative credit for things we've done not perfectly, which is everything if you ask the mind. We give credit where credit is due. This is the collaboration of the whole world. Responses from inner, outer that are inseparable, that create the outcome. And Amarnath is replying to Jane when Jane was saying about the compassion and the division. Amarnath says, to whom is the pattern no existence of him, personality. And now we up to date, and I'll see. Oh yes, we have. Jane says, thanks so much, Bob and Kat. Sunday mornings are so illuminating. Gratitude arise. Love you, Jane. And we love you. And thank you for being with us. And Amarnath, all questions and answers are in phantom, I, or mind. Similarly, knowledge and ignorance. Mind cannot stay with lovely glance of Kat and Bob. Shadow is illuminated. Infinite gratitude for Kat and Bob. Thank you, Amarnath. And I think that's the time when people start saying thank you. Tomorrow I turn half of Bob's age and I am half as sharp. Oh no, you are pure perfection, just like every pattern. Half his age. He is 92, so you're gonna be 46 and a half. Well, welcome. I'm just gonna be. I've been half his age last year.
Who's this?
Julia. Yes. So happy birthday. Unless it is really 46 and a half. Anyway, it's not enough excuses of celebrating the form, which is the expression of the emptiness. So be celebrated. And thank you, everyone.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you for another beautiful Sunday morning.
Uh-huh.
And lots of love.
And still only that, you haven't changed.
You haven't changed.